Hello again, fellow Gears. Ooh, what's up? It's Maticon bringing you another Gears 5 speedrun tutorial. This one is on Allfathers Arena. Now, this speedrun was co-created by Dr. Schwazi, Morris, Jaded Zombie, Big in the Game, and myself. While this loads, I need to give a huge shout out to the following people for helping me get this tutorial footage, which would be Relaxing Cody, Grizzled Hulk, Bad Wolf Willie, Slaughter00, and Sniperman71. Thank you all very, very much. We go in here with the setup of Dell, Baird, Jack, JD, and Kate, but of course you can substitute that with whatever your playstyle is. There are two required stationary spots, being your two DPS classes. Engineers and Jack are free floaters, however when you do pull robot enemy set waves, the two engineers do have a stationary spot to be at. On this version, all the enemies will pretty much spawn near the 2 versus spawns. Okay, so on the blue side here, you're going to get some spawn here in the verses, as well as they will spawn out here, and then they will trickle through and also spawn through here as well. And there is a really tiny weak overflow spawn on the sewer cap right here. You can shut this down by putting a sentry there, and if need be a grenade or two to stop them from spawning at that point. Now your first required stationary spot is your DPS. We usually put JD here, because this is the heavier side enemy wise. As long as he's shooting in here, he's good, but that is your first required stationary spot. The other required stationary spot is going to be where we usually will stick Kate, over here on the red side on this box here. Again, it's not too picky. As long as you have a good angle to shoot into the spawn, you're good as far as the stationary spot goes. And same thing on the sewer camp over here. This is a weak overflow spawn that you can shut down with a sentry and or if need be a nade or two. And on the red side, the majority of them are going to spawn in the verses through here, as well as out here. It's pretty much mirrored on each side. And then you'll get some spawn that'll trickle through and also here as well in this versus spawn. Now, when we first set this up, we power level the forge to 4. And then we build lockers for the DPSers, and then we build out barriers. And once we get our barriers in place, then we'll start adding sentries throughout here, and then once of course those are all in place, we'll add a decoy here in the middle as well for them to aggro too. Alright, let's talk about robot waves. Robot waves on all speedruns. There is the robot overflow spawn right there, so the engineer needs to be over here to reduce the spawn as well as kill whatever does spawn there. We usually will set up a kill box for the robot spawns on robot waves, because of course you don't want the robot just running up and killing your DPSer. And the same thing is mirrored on this side as well. And I'll have some video footage on some kill boxes you can set up later on in this tutorial. But you'll get the robot wave spawn there. And you can throw a barrier or whatever down. But as soon as they do spawn, you want to take them out, obviously, because they're going to head straight up for your DPSer. And you don't want that. And that's only on robot waves. So Juvena Mago waves, Leeches waves, engineers are free floaters. They just need to be there on robots. One other really useful thing is to have Jack here healing one of your DPSers right there. It makes things a lot easier, and just overall makes things better as far as the run goes. So now, as far as the mini bosses are, they like to spawn in these versus spawns in the cupboards here, or opposite those two boxes down there. As far as your main bosses go, they typically will spawn either here, and it's exactly mirrored on the other side. We don't usually push them. You can try to push them with a grenade or a sentry or whatnot, but the other boss spawn over on this side, this circle right here. But you want to keep an eye out. Sometimes it's a fluke. The carrier likes to spawn on the Fabricator in the middle of the map. Not sure why, but it does do that sometimes, so watch out for that one. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and now show you the Fabricator location, because the middle of this map actually changes. In Horde, looks like there's 3 main variations. I'm going to show you all 3 variations here. This is the first one. If you're looking towards the blue side, you just want to line it up to the middle and to the right of that, as so. Here is another middle variation of where you're going to put the Fabricator down at. As usual, just if you're looking towards the blue side, you just want to go offset middle, middle right, as close as you can get. This one here is the trickiest one to get just right, it seems like. So, but you're going to go right about there. Should do it. And here is the third middle variation that you can pull. I know in Versus you can pull much more than 3, but in Horde it seems like these main 3 are the dominant 3 that you usually will pull. Like the other 2 fab spots, you're just going to look towards the blue side, line it up middle, right middle, as so, right about there. And with that, the fab locations out of the way, we can now get into the more fun stuff on the tutorial with the base setup and everything coming right up for you. Here, just wanted to showcase how useful it is to have Jack healing one of your DPSers. In this case, we have him healed JD on the blue side because the blue side seems to be a little heavier than the red side. Very easy to do, especially early on while you're getting your base built up. It helps out a lot. Here is just an overview of the Carnage in action. This is the blue side, which is Dr. Schwazi's side. The sentries are still 2. We haven't upgraded to 3 yet. But as you can see, even just with the level 2s and with JD's GLs, it just rips right through the spawn here each wave. Definitely fun stuff. Here's the blue side setup overview, Dr. Schwazi's setup. We have the sentry for that cog there and a sentry next to it. And then another sentry here, off left middle and down here. 5 total sentries and then 5 barriers stretched across, and 1 decoy here in the middle for them to aggro 2. Pretty basic, simple, easy setup, easy to maintain. It is a lot of fun, and as we always will say, you know, don't do what we do necessarily. Try something new. It's always great to see different setups and new ideas, that is for sure. And as I've mentioned earlier, you will pull robots in these corners on each side of the map. This is Dr. Schwazi's little kill box he's set up for the robots. 3 level 2 barriers, level 2 decoy, and behind me here off to the left there is a sentry there as well. But again, this is only overflow for robot waves. And here is the red side setup. This is done by Grizzled Hulk. He uses 5 barriers stretched across there. A decoy here in the middle for them to aggro 2. And he uses 4 level 4 sentries. And here's that sentry by that weak overflow cog. If you have any problem shutting that down, besides having a sentry there, you could put a grenade or 2 down there as well, and that should keep it shut down. But as you can see, pretty simple, basic, nothing too difficult. Here's the DPS spot in the locker. And this is just going to be a kind of a view of Jack, of an overview of a wave here in the Carnage in action. This is before, like I said, the red side is slightly less dominant, so you don't get as much of a spawn over here on the red side as you do the blue side. And then here goes Cody with the breaker mace. Loves to clean up the last few stragglers of each wave. Definitely is good and fun stuff. Nice job, Cody. And over here, this is Grizzled Hulk's little robot kill box that he sets up. We have a sentry and then a level 3 barrier and a decoy. For when you do pull robots down here, they spawn right by that decoy as mentioned. And as I always will say, don't do what we do necessarily. Put your own spin on it, make it yours. Always make it better. Here's a quick clip on this kill box for robots again. When you do pull robot waves, you'll see we get just 1 DR1. It gets taken care of very easily and quickly, but just a heads up on those robot waves with these kill boxes again for sure. And here I just want to showcase that sometimes the carrier likes to spawn in the middle by the Fabricator. It is an odd spawning issue. We're not pushing him there. We have nothing blocking the boss spawns as far as we're aware at this point. But just a heads up, sometimes just the carrier might just pop up at the Fab, but not a big deal. There's nothing really there for him to wreck, and it gets him away from the base, so it actually works out. And here is a Wave 50 boss clip for you. We pulled the Snatcher. Snatchers usually do not last very long with us, but here's just one final quick overview. But with that, that concludes this Allfathers Arena dual versus spawn speedrun tutorial. It is a very fast run, great run, definitely fun. Enjoyed, everybody. Thank you.